Thank you, Costo, and good morning, League fans. My name is Steve Mascord, and this is rugbyleague.com, and we are just about to launch into the Indigenous round in the NRL, bringing you score updates over the coming hours when Melbourne play host to Brisbane. The weather there, 11 degrees and dry at Amy Park. Over the next hour, we're also going to talk a lot of Super League. The big story yesterday was Brad Arthur discussing his future at the Leeds Rhinos. And Leeds Rhinos are, in fact, going to kick off the round. That is tonight, or if you're not in the UK, 11 hours from now. It is the Lee Leopards at home to the Leeds Rhinos. You're also going to hear from another couple of teams playing this weekend. The beleaguered Salford Red Devils. We'll hear from their coach, Paul Rowley, and the competition-leading Hull KR, who play host to Castleford on Saturday. We're going to hear from Willie Peters as well. That's kind of the big news at the moment in the NRL. You would have heard the news bulletin from Costo on the hour there about the hand gesture from the West Tigers players. No action there. There's been a discussion in the papers about Australian selection, which is great to see because there's not been enough of that in recent years. Now, another thing that we do every day that we do, good morning, League fans, is we celebrate the birthdays of various rugby league players from down through the years. And there's a couple of interesting ones on August 7. One here, and I've got to acknowledge Rugby League Project to provide us with this information. I go to the website and that's where I find these birthdays. But one of them is Bill King, who played for New Zealand and Canterbury. He was born in 1892, and it says that he turns 133 today. Now, there is a column that says if he died, if Bill is indeed 133 today, that is absolutely outstanding. I don't think he is. I think I looked up the oldest person in the world the other day, and it wasn't that age. Another fellow who, Pierre Talentou, who was born in 1920, played for France. It says that he is 105 today. So if that is the case, I very much doubt he's listening. But Pierre, happy birthday. Now, another one that I found interesting, and if I had any control over the music here, I'd be playing Wall of Voodoo after announcing this fella's birthday. Stan Ridgway. He was born in 1913, died in 1985, played for City Seconds, the AIF, Army First, Army Seconds, North Sydney and Cessnock. Stan Ridgway, and also a great career in music with Wall of Voodoo. Steve Hansen, who played for Easts and Norths back in the day, strapping prop. He died, unfortunately, in 2015, but today is his birthday as well. And Paul Dunn, who had a great career as an administrator after playing at every level of the game as a player. A happy 62nd birthday today to Paul Dunn. I'll see if we've got maybe one other. Here's just one more player. Oliver Holmes is 33 today. The Lee and Hull FC and Warrington and Cass player. And finally, Jesse Arthurs, who is not related to Brad Arthur, played for Gold Coast, Brisbane and the Warriors, is 27 today. Okay, so that's enough of me jibber-jabbering. Let's have a break. And we'll be back and we'll hear about Brad Arthur discussing his future with the Leeds Rhinos. Lee at home to Leeds to kick off Super League on Thursday night, and just as much interest in the future of Rhinos coach Brad Arthur as there is in the result of this match. Brad Arthur spoke extensively about his future and his deliberations regarding that at his media opportunity on match eve. His sons, by the way, are Matt and Jake. Jake has been offered a contract in Super League, and the Bleezy you're about to hear about is Leeds football manager Ian Blease.
Me and Bleezy had a good conversation the other day, and now I've talked about a multi-year deal with a few options, clubs away, and a couple of things for me. and I'll make a decision on Monday. I've got, the priority right now is the game Thursday, which is tomorrow. Both my boys are playing Friday and Saturday. Let them focus on their games, and then we'll have a discussion over the weekend after all that's done. And well, I haven't got anything about the deal running through my mind because, like I said, I've spoke to Bleezy. There's nothing there that I need to go back and forth on. The deal is what it is. That's whether now I decide to stay. And, like I need to have that conversation with my kids, make sure everyone's comfortable. My daughter's got to go back to, if I stay, she got to go back to uni for 12 months. And so I just need to have all those conversations. But they're the conversations I don't really want to have with them until they get through what they've got to do over the weekend, and we'll just discuss it on Sunday. Look, it helps, but then I've still got another young bloke over there, so feel like I'm leaving him in the lurch. But yeah, look, they're all things that we're going to discuss on Sunday. But it certainly helps having him here. But the other part of it is if I say my daughter's going to go home, so no, then I've answered all the questions that I probably think I need to. Like I told you, so, we've had a good discussion. It's there's nothing there that I'm not happy about. Now it's just, am I prepared to make some decisions based on my family? So it's as simple as that, mate. There's nothing. The club's been great. The club's been patient with me all the way through, but we both agree that it's at the stage where a decision needs to be made. I need to make decisions for my family and need to make decisions for the club. Yeah, I'm happy with everything. Yeah, there's no, to and fro with the club. It's what we're comfortable with what it is. Now it's just whether can I commit to staying here? That's the big question. There's nothing else there. Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm really focusing on the game, and I don't want to put any pressure on the two boys. I want them to concentrate on what they're getting paid to do, then play footy, and then on Sunday we'll have a good discussion, and we'll know exactly where I need to be on come Monday. Yeah, I'll give him advice, but he's 22 now, mate. He doesn't want to listen to me. But look, he's just at a bit of a stage of his career. He's getting an opportunity this weekend to play, and he's grateful for the Newcastle Knights are giving him an opportunity. But he's got an opportunity that's presented over here where he might be able to run his own team, and that's up to him what he does. And I've told him that's a good competition over here. I've given him my view on it, but now it's up to him what he does. Yeah. It'll be a tragedy if I'm going one way and he's coming the other, isn't it? Yeah, but I don't know if it's a deadline either, mate. It's always been a mutual decision and conversation from both parties, and everyone was comfortable up to a certain point. But look, a month ago, me and Bleezy said, look, it has to get to around this point, and we mapped it out a long time ago of when we needed to, come up with a decision. And like I said, I need to make one so my family can get sorted. My daughter can decide what uni she wants to go to, and the club needs to get their future sorted. So I'm just grateful for the time I've had here. I'm grateful for the opportunity the club's given me. I'm grateful for the time frame that they've allowed me to be able to make this decision. I'm probably the players too, mate, because they're the ones at the end of the day as well, to and fro, and what am I doing? And they haven't put any pressure on me. They've been patient and they're comfortable with whatever decision that I make, and they know I'm committed to what I'm doing right now.
Mate, last one from me, and probably a pretty obvious one, but with your big decision coming on Monday, do you have options at home, or do you, or is that circumstance has obviously changed a bit with Perth naming a coach about 7 weeks ago or whatever? So I just wondered, do you still have options at home if you decide to go that way, and what impact has that had on your decision, the jobs being filled at home or the jobs that might open at home?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what's has been filled or what might open up, and I haven't really sourced too much of it either. At the moment, it's more about what I need to do, for my family, my daughter, and then if I have to look for a job, I'll look for a job. But at this stage, look, I don't have to worry about it.
Sounds like you're leaning towards staying, mate. Thank you.
Whatever you like, Steve. You can. All I'm worried about is tomorrow, mate.
Salford's beleaguered coach Paul Rowley, he was going to step up into a football manager's role next year, but of course the club's fast running out of players, with Matty Foster, the latest, reported to have handed in his resignation because the new owners have not come up with the promised funds. And even though Paul keeps his cards close to his chest these days at his midweek media opportunities, it was pretty hard for him not to give an answer one way or another when he was asked if his plans for next year had been impacted by the disastrous season behind the scenes at the Red Devils.
Well, it most definitely needs to, doesn't it? Because it just shows you how vulnerable you can be in the workplace, so to speak. So, like I said, I think Rob's alluded to it several times. I take every day as it comes. Don't think too far ahead, and just deal with the immediate for now. Well, I'm just dealing with every day as it comes, so I've got no plans as it stands.
Hull KR at home to Castleford on Saturday, and some breaking news as far as recruitment is concerned. Rowan Milnes, he's coming back from Castleford to Hull KR on a 2-week loan with the possibility of staying longer. And very interesting from the point of view of Coach Willie Peters, because the main reason Rowan Milnes is coming back is for training, it would appear. Have a listen to what Willie had to say.
We need to bring in a half or a backup half for a couple of reasons. Obviously, possibly for games, but also for our training. We do a fair bit of 13v13, so we like to have a senior sort of half there and running the different plays that the opposition are going to run against us. And Rowan will obviously do a great job doing that.
He's obviously coming in for the 2 weeks that Tyrone May's absent for. What was your reaction to his 2-game ban?
Yeah, so basically we've got 13v13, our top team that's playing that week, and then the rest of the team. Danny Richardson was, sort of our third half, and he'd run a lot of the other shapes or the opposition we're going to throw at us for that weekend. And having that senior player that can run that team certainly helps and makes our first team defend. I'll have to defend better, and prepares them the best they can for the weekend ahead. So we value our training. It's important to us. So we wanted to make sure that we brought someone in that can help with that. And obviously down the track, Rowan, could play with us. So that's something that we'll need to look at some stage.
Milnes is still only 25. He played for Hull KR until 2023, and he's not eligible to play against his primary club, Castleford, this weekend. I put it to Willie that it was a little bit extreme, an indication of a perfectionist, that you would bring in a player on loan just to run opposed sessions at training.
Yeah, he may play, Steve. So he's here to play, potentially get picked. He can't get picked this week, and that loan could go longer. But certainly the initial, there's no guarantees, of him playing if we because he can't play this week. If the team goes well this week, then it makes it difficult to get him the week after. But it's just reasons of obviously bringing him in is bigger than just going, okay, we need a halfback this week. Training is important to us, but that's not just to say that he'll just train and he's not going to get an opportunity to play. He may play, and it could be next week. It could be, if we do extend, it could be after that.
Peters talking ahead of the home game on Saturday against Castleford. He was asked about the decision for Super League to go from 12 to 14 teams next year, and after initially being a little reticent to comment, he certainly weighed in with his opinion, expressing a number of doubts about whether the competition is ready.
These are all decisions made higher than me. My initial thoughts are how much thought went into it in terms of planning. How far ahead have we planned for this? Was it a decision that was spur of the moment? Will it strengthen the competition? So I think one thing that I say regularly, and I'm not sure whether I'll be able to say this next year, and I hope I'm wrong, but will I be able to say again that, where this competition is exciting because anyone can beat anyone, on their day, excuse me. And, aside from obviously Salford situation, that's the case this year. Every team, as I said, we nearly got beat by Castle on round one, and they've beaten Warrington, they've beaten, nearly beaten Wigan, so anyone can beat anyone on their day at the moment. Where's the players going to come from? They're all the questions, I suppose, that need answered. And how strong are those other teams going to be? I hope, because we have 14 elite teams, perfect. You need to grow the game. Obviously, there's reasons behind financially that I'm not privy to. So, we need, maybe that's the reason why we're growing the game. But from a point of view of having an elite competition, is it the best to do that? Then I'm not 100% sure. I just don't see how we're going to be able to get all those players. And then possibly, they're obviously increasing teams in the NRL. They're still looking over here as well. If they do take players, where are we getting those other players from? The positive to the 10 quota spots now, initially I wasn't a fan of it because I think, again, do we want players here not getting first crack? I think it's important for the English game that you do give players here an opportunity. But what it does now is opens up the market. So players, you're not paying players overs, but also there is a bigger pool to choose from. So like anything, pros and cons, you can have these discussions. At the end of the day, it's above me. And if it's 14 teams and it works, then happy days.
Good morning, League fans. My name is Steve Mascord. There is a big game of NRL coming up. It is the Storm at home to the Broncos to kick off Indigenous round. And maybe we can go through those teams. It's a bit chilly in Melbourne, as it usually is this time of year, but no sign of rain, about 11 degrees. For the Storm, from fullback, Ryan Pappenhausen, Grant Anderson, Nick Meaney, Kane Bradley, Xavier Coates, Cameron Munster, Tyron Wishart. Forwards are Stefan Oitukamanu, Harry Grant is captain, Josh King, Sean Bloor, Eli Katoa, Trent Liero, and the bench is Jonah Pezzett, Ati Lasati, Tui Kamakamitha, and Joe Chan. And for the Broncos, Reece Walsh, Selwyn Cobbo, Katoni Staggs, Gemat Shibasaki, Dean Mariner, the halves are Ezra Mam and Captain Adam Reynolds. And the forwards are Corey Jensen, Ben Hunt, Payne Haas, Jack Gazetsky, Jordan Ricky, and Patrick Carrigan. And our bench is Billy Walters, Kobe Hetherington, Ben Talty, and Jaden Hunt. And the referee will be Grant Atkins. The video referee will be Chris Butler. And in the Northern Hemisphere, a bit of breaking news while we've been on air via John Davidson. Oldham are close to signing Salford's Ryan Briley and Jack Ormonroyd, and speculation that Salford are running out of players in a really critical way and may actually not be able to play this weekend because they have run out of players. So something to keep an eye on there. Okay, coming up after the break and in our final segment of the hour, we're going to hear, it's that time of week again, we're going to hear from Tony the Mole Adams. Thanks for joining us on Good Morning League fans. Stay tuned to rugbyleague.com for score updates from Amy Park. And hello to everybody listening on rugbyleague.com. This is the time of the week where we speak to the veteran, I use that term advisedly, rugby league journalist from direct from Sydney's Northern Beaches, Tony Adams. Tony, how are you?
Yeah, doing well, Steve, and looking forward to another big round. We're getting close to the finals. Last weekend, some stunning upsets. The weather was horrible, and I think that had something to do with it. This weekend, the weather's going to be good. So whether we see more upsets, we'll have to wait and see.
Now, the Brisbane Broncos, their wheels seem to have fallen off, but they've pulled over. They've called the NRMA, who I think were once a sponsor, and they've now put the wheels back on. And of all the people to give credit for that, this fella, it wouldn't have occurred to me. Can you tell us how Isaac Luke is involved?
Yeah, well, what happened was a few weeks ago when Souths were at rock bottom, Adam Reynolds had his 300th game. Now, Adam Reynolds was a teammate of Isaac Luke, coached by Michael Maguire at Souths in 2014. So he presented Adam Reynolds with his 300th jumper, a very special milestone in the game, of course. And apparently, while he was up there, I've been told, he had a quiet word, Isaac Luke, to Michael Maguire, his former coach, and said, listen, you're pushing these guys a bit too hard because the Broncos were really struggling. And something similar happened at South, and that's how Luke knew about it. They won the comp, they broke a long drought, but then it was all downhill the next couple of years. And before long, as happens with losing teams, poor Michael Maguire was out of a job. So what I've been told, he went a little bit easier on them. They've now won 6 out of 7 and are chasing a spot in the top 4. And with all their strike power, they're a team everyone fears. So kudos to Isaac Luke. None of the players were game to the current Broncos players were keen enough to tell Michael Maguire, you're pushing us too hard. But a blast from the past, and look what happens.
Now, you got a good line on Sione Katoa, who we all love, a very powerful outside back from Cronulla. But he wasn't always a rugby league superstar. In fact, when he arrived in Sydney, life was pretty tough for him.
Yeah, this is an amazing story. And it actually comes from a podcast. He was on a minimum contract of $60,000. He had 3 little kids and a wife to support. And in Sydney, I don't know what it's like, the cost of living over where you are. That's not easy on $60,000. So what he did, he would go out late at night and collect empty bottles for recycling. Do they pay money for that over there, Steve?
I never rule out having to find out, Tony. It could be any day now that I have to go and find out that information. So
Yes.
Leave it with me.
Yes, you and me both. But anyway, he would put on a hoodie, and this is a first grade rugby league player, and would go around late at night collecting bottles. And the reason he did it late at night, he didn't want anyone to recognise him because he was becoming a bit of a cult hero in the Shire, and he thought it would be a pretty bad look if the fans saw him collecting bottles. And he actually had his baby daughter sleeping in the car at the time on occasions. So the story has a happy ending, though. He's been given an upgrade. He's on decent money now and no longer collecting bottles. But it just shows some of these guys do it really tough.
Now, Jamal Fogarty being poached from Canberra by Manly, that really hurt the Green Machine fans, Tony, didn't it? But Manly have got one back on the Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders have got one back on Manly.
Sorry.
Callum Dowell is the captain of the Manly Jersey Flag team, and he'll be playing for the Raiders next year. Very promising young player. Manly are filthy at losing him. He's only 17, 18, so you never quite know if kids that age are going to make it, but he's certainly a talent. And he'll be given his chance at Canberra. Ricky Stewart's shown this year that he's willing to give the youth a go. The path to first grade was pretty much blocked at Manly. So Callum Dowell at the Raiders. Let's see how he goes.
And we're very, very proud of the fact here that you hear players' names for the very first time on this channel, Tony. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And Jacob Fong, is that his name? Jacob Fong. What can you tell us about him?
Fong, they call him.
What can you tell us about him?
Well, this is another amazing story, Steve. We've got quite an interesting episode this week. Scored 4 tries in a game on the weekend. Parramatta beat Souths 44-18. But the interesting part is he was playing for Souths. So in a team that's beaten 44-18, he scored 4 tries. Now, I was going to ring David Middleton and ask him if something like that's ever been done before, because his team were absolutely thrashed. They managed 4 tries and a goal, and he scored them all. He's a left winger. I saw the tries. A couple of them, he just had to catch the ball and put it down. But a couple of them, he showed real Alex Johnson, Martin Afire type pace. So, another one for our little one to watch book.
Tony, it's been an absolute pleasure. Good to talk to you. Enjoy your footy coming up this weekend. I don't think I'm going to a live match this weekend, having a little bit of a break, but I enjoyed being back at the footy here in London last Sunday. What are you up to this weekend, Tony?
Watching 8 games of footy, probably a few Super League games, and probably a few National Rugby League women's games. So I'll have square eyes by the end of the weekend.
Well, we'll speak to you next week, Tony. Thanks.
Sounds good, Steve.